Pastor Boyd, we're ready for you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. On this, okay. How's everybody doing? Welcome for coming out today on this Sunday afternoon. We want to open with a word of prayer and just a few comments about tonight. Thank you all for coming out. Representative Cunningham is a friend of ours, and we're glad to host this for her today, and so she can have an opportunity to speak to her constituents. She's asked that if you all would just mute your phones for just a moment during the meeting today, that would be very, very helpful as we can go through the process today. We're going to start, I think it's about 6, and we'll end at 7:30. Is that okay? We have a moderator today that will address any questions that will come from the floor. So if it's okay, can we just bow for a moment of prayer? Lord, we give thanks to you for this day and for the gift of this day and the opportunity to come together and to commune and fellowship about the things that are on our heart today. We are grateful for leadership and those who are leaders in our community, leaders in our legislature, leaders in many parts and ways of our community. Thank you for this opportunity. Guide and govern with your spirit. Lead us by the power of your presence as we go forward in this day. In your son's name we give thanks. Amen.
Pastor Phillips.
Good afternoon. Yeah, I'm Reverend Sidney Phillips, pastor of Morning Star Baptist Church here in District 106. And I, too, am a dear friend of our Representative Cunningham, and we're here today. My task is to introduce our moderator, and it is none other than Mr. Willie Spratt, a media specialist out of Atlanta, Georgia. And he is also the president of Being About Change, an individual who is committed to doing the work and the will of the people, and we thank God for his presence today. This impactful nonprofit that he leads is deeply committed to the mission of empowering individuals and families in underserved communities by providing access to vital resources and diverse educational opportunities. Through his leadership, Spratt ensures Being About Change actively works to bridge gaps, fostering growth and creating pathways to a brighter future for those who are in need of it most. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you our moderator this evening, Brother Spratt. If you would be so kind to just give a clap, and we welcome you to our fair city, brother. Thank you.
Thank you.
And before I sit down, I'm sorry, let me acknowledge the presence of Pastor Boyd. Thank you for what you have done also. All right, protocol haven't been established.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction, Pastor Phillips. And thank you for to the campaign committee for inviting me to be the moderator this evening. This community connection is prompted in part by some recent bills that impact District 106 in North Carolina as a whole. To name a few, Senate Bill 266, the Power Bill Reduction Act, Senate Bill 254, Charter School Changes, Senate Bill 416, the Personal Privacy Protection Act, House Bill 318, the Criminal Illegal Alien Enforcement Act, and House Bill 402, Limit Rules and Substantial Financial Costs. Staff members will be passing out index cards, and they started as we were coming in, and we ask that any of the questions you have regarding those bills and other district matters, that you write the questions on those index cards, and Representative Cunningham will address as many of these questions as possible during this Community Connect. As for those that are joining us online, you can email your questions to carla.cunningham@ncleg.gov, and I'll repeat that email address again. For any, we're streaming live, so for those that are online, if you want to email in your questions, then we'll get those to Carla.Cunningham@ncleg.gov. Representative Cunningham has proudly served North Carolina's 106th District in the House of Representatives since 2012, bringing more than 30 years of healthcare experience to her role in the General Assembly. A former hospice nurse and lifelong advocate of health equity, mental health, and women and children's rights. She is widely respected for her leadership in advancing policies that improve the quality of life for all citizens in North Carolina. It is my honor to introduce Representative Carla Cunningham.
Thank you, Mr. Spratt. It's a couple of duties that we have to do right quickly. First of all, I would like to acknowledge any elected officials that are in the room. If you would stand so that we can acknowledge you. Are there any candidates in the room? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. Thank you. Are there any candidates in the room? Thank you. Thank you. We weren't supposed to do it that way. We just wanted to acknowledge you because we are trying to give the constituents as much time as possible. Also, if there was any additional clergy in the house, we wanted to acknowledge them. If you would stand, please. Thank you. Thank you. Also, I need to acknowledge the Capitol Police, the North Carolina General Assembly Police. He's over here to the left, as well as it is some additional security in the room. I would not be identifying them for you, but I also want to thank you all for coming and taking the time to give me the opportunity to express my views on how I voted and why I voted. So at this time, I'm going to yield back to Pratt. Spratt. And we will start to take the questions that we have already received, and I will answer as many as I can with the time frame that we have. Thank you.
Representative, I have a question. Why did you say you were an American?
I'm taking ownership. Number one, and as I said on the floor, is that I am an American descendant of slaves, of which I am. I'm not saying ADOS, I'm not saying FAB. I'm saying I am in my country. I have no other country to go back to. This is my country. So that's why I said I am an American, because I am an American, and I'm taking ownership and responsibility for my role in my country and our country. Thank you.
A constituent says, good evening. If we could not voice the comments, we're going to try to get we have a lot of questions, and we want to try to get as many done as she can answer as much as possible. Good evening. Do you support removing all immigrants from North Carolina?
Thank you. I do not support illegal immigrants. I support legal immigrants. I have not voted for a bill that remove all immigrants. House Bill 10 asks to cooperate with ICE to turn over people that were here illegally and committed felony crimes. House Bill 10 came back because House Bill 10 was not honored in the state that it was in. So when House Bill 318 came back, it basically secured and put in place where the sheriff had to cooperate with ICE. But it does not target people that are not illegal. If it does, that's not. Excuse me. I think, let me address this. If you talk about assimilation, if you're in a church like this, you're supposed to respect the place that you're in. We wouldn't come to your church and behave the way that you just did. It may be a public meeting, ma'am, but this is a church.
Yes. So yeah, so in order to move forward and to, again, we know that some of these bills there are a lot of questions and clarity that needs to be and wants to be explained, and we want to use this platform to do that. And just to honor all the constituents, we'd like to try to get these questions. So. And some of these are repetitive, so if you see me move them to the side, it's because it's kind of repeating the same thing. What did you mean by all cultures are not the same or not equal?
So, according to the anthropologist Mead, all cultures are not the same. They are all different. So simply using one word, equal, as an adjective can mean same or like. So that's simply what it is. Go to the next question.
Again, sir, we're trying to go through the questions that are been asked, and the representative is trying to answer the questions. Yes. Yes. And let's see. Name specific steps on how you will protect public education over corporate greed. So this question is, why do you continue to vote with Republicans on issues that go against our governor?
There are three branches of government. There are three branches of government: the executive branch, the judicial branch, and the legislative branch. The legislative branch is the closest to the people. Now, if there is purpose in those branches being separate, the reason is for checks and balances. It's not about agreeing on every piece of legislation according to what the governor wants. It's based on your constituency. There are difficult decisions to make, but your constituency that you're the closest to should be the first one that you look at when you make that decision, not any other branch of government. Next question. Next question.
The next question, excuse me, sir. How has your work in District 106 helped the people of District 106?
Oh, wow. I've done quite a bit for my constituents in 106. I was able to wipe out school lunch debt across the entire state by negotiating, getting $6 million initially in the budget and $3 million recurring. And it wipes out school lunch debt across the entire state. And the way I was able to get that done was because I looked at it to see which counties actually had the highest school lunch debt. Anson County was one of them, where I'm originally from. And then Union County was the other one. And then Mecklenburg County was the highest one. So I was able to get that inside of the budget, which sits there now. In every budget cycle, it comes into the new budget because it's a recurrent item. I was additionally able to pull down $835 million when Medicaid expanded to bring those dollars into mental health, IDD, and substance abuse services, where I was able to have some input on peer support line and the crisis line. So a lot of work has been done in that space. In addition to that, I was able to get 2 additional jail inspectors because of the suicides in the jails and the overdoses in the jail, because there was only 3 for the entire state, which was 100 jails they covered. We picked up 2 additional inspectors right now. One thing you probably don't know about those individuals is that they were under the age of 35, as well as they may not have been to trial. They had died inside the jail. I've done multiple things. So HBCUs, I was able to negotiate the sports wage betting bill, and the sports wage betting bill set aside monies for HBCUs in the state of North Carolina. Of course, we have 10. And so we were able to decide on how that sports wage money would come into North Carolina and how we would designate it for the HBCUs. And we were able to do that. So those schools are getting over $1 million through their athletic programs. Also, $5,000 went into each county for youth athletics, so we was able to get that done. I've done a lot. I'm not on Facebook saying everything that I've done. I'm sometimes behind the door working across the aisle because that's what I have to do to bring resources home. Thank you.
Your vote to override Senate Bill 266 will cause energy rates to go up, and the constituents like you to comment on that bill.
Thank you, thank you. So Senate Bill, excuse me, so Senate Bill 266,
I'm not reading anything that's repetitive or that's already been concerned. Yes. Well, I'm going to kind of address it just so that the entire, yes. So the question was in regards to Senate Bill 266, and it was saying that it will cause energy rates to go up, and the representative responded to that.
Thank you. Thank you. So Senate Bill 266 is the energy reduction bill that came about because of the Duke asking to build additional nuclear energy in the state. They say that it will make your energy bill go up, but you get somebody else to say that it won't make it go up. So the way that they want to do it is to find additional sources of energy for the state because of AI and data centers. And data centers require a large amount of energy, and those are also jobs. But the other thing about it is that the Utilities Commission, which is the North Carolina's Utilities Commission, has a public staff on the other side, and the public staff represents the ratepayers. So every time a rate is asked to be increased, it goes to the Utilities Commission, the public staff investigates and make a recommendation to the Utilities Commission. So by me voting for it doesn't necessarily mean that your rate is going to go up, because every rate that is projected or asked for has to go to the North Carolina Utilities Commission, and the public staff have to investigate and look at the benefits or what are not beneficial to the ratepayer. Thank you.
Okay. So the individuals that call, they might be referring to, there are a couple of courts that ask the same thing. And there's a direct question that how much money did you receive from Duke Energy or the PAC money? They want to know if you received money.
So let me say this. PACs give money to every state legislator, every senator. So I'm not the only recipient of PAC money from Duke. I receive funding from numerous PACs, not just Duke Energy. Thank you.
Would you please speak for your plans for upcoming votes to override Governor Steen's vetoes of the anti-DEI bill sponsored by the Republicans?
So the DEI, which the federal has kind of pushed down on and making people have, especially 501c3s, to look at how they're going to give out money and things. With the federal making those changes, everybody have to adapt if they want federal grant money. Now, the state, we do have the DEI in place, but I think people need to remember that was an executive order that was given by the president, the previous president, so now the new president can come in and remove the executive order. But as far as the state, I think the votes are not there for those to be overridden. From what I understand now, I'm speaking for me. I can't speak for the other legislators. I can just say what I think right now is the votes are not there for the overrides on the DEI. Thank you.
All right. Can you share more about what led to change your vote to support the veto overrides?
Oh, okay, thank you. So I just kind of talked about the three separate branches of government. And one of the things I want to express, separate branches of government, the legislator and the state senator is the closest to the people. The governor is the farthest away, and the judicial branch is the farthest away. So the legislator and the senator has to make the decision. They make the decision on the information that they receive. Now understand, all pieces of information we receive may not be correct. And all pieces of information we receive may be some of it's right. We have to decipher the information that we receive, and then we make a decision based on what the needs are of our constituents and community. And that's how we come to a decision, most of us anyway.
Looking back, would you change anything about the way that you voted or the way you delivered your message?
No, I wouldn't change a thing about it, because I wouldn't. I am being authentic. I am speaking my truth. And I am also elected to lead. Nothing I'm going to do is going to be perfect. I am human too. So I answered the question.
So the next question relates to the relationship in how are you going to rebuild trust with the immigrant voters in the district?
Thank you. I got this red book because I want y'all to see something. And I'm going to open it up. You see this right here? This is how much support I got for what I said, because I told the truth. Okay? These came to my office. These are letters. These are emails. These right here. These are two. Only two came out of District 106. Two. I have 80,000 constituents, only two, okay? This right here is the negative, okay? So I'm saying what I need to say because I took the pulse of the people before I voted. Now, how did I take the pulse of the people? Because I voted for House Bill 10 before I was reelected, and it was no outpouring. I didn't get calls in my office. I didn't get letters in my office in reference to House Bill 10. None. My constituents wasn't calling. Organizations are not my constituents. They're the constituents. So I'm just showing you what I got. Out of 80,000, out of 85 plus people.
Again, the platform is set for the representative to answer questions that are being presented, and we're trying to allow her the opportunity to do that. I'm watching. Excuse me. There's a platform, sir. There's a platform that's being set, and if we're not able to move forward with that platform, then we'll be having to ask you to move.
I know I can. Let me stand up a minute. Yeah, because if you all are not going to respect the space, I asked the pastor to give me the space to allow you all to come in here and address me. And I would not come into anybody's church and sanctuary. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a political public. It doesn't matter, okay? So I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. If y'all can't be respectful, then I'm going to shut it down, and I'm going to take myself on out of here. Yeah, since y'all don't want to do that. Okay, so I'm giving you an option. I'm giving you an option. I'm giving you an option. You can be respectful
I would
or
ask
not.
that we move forward. There are more questions that have been presented that they wanted to get answered. And I'll ask for those constituents to have those questions to be answered. Yeah. And for the rest of the constituents that would like to get their questions answered, we would ask you, yes. Thank you.
Thank y'all for coming. You got the next question? How many more we got?
The next question. Can you explain what you meant by assimilate?
Yes, assimilate. So the definition of assimilate is if you come into a culture and you haven't adapted to that culture.
Let me represent. Sir, if you're not going to be able to let the other constituents' points be read, then we're going to have to ask you to leave. So thank you, Representative.
So the definition of assimilation is the following: to take in information, ideas, culture, and understand it fully by adapting to the various social settings. That's what I meant by assimilation. So if I go into another culture, I'm supposed to try to understand it fully and adapt to it. And I have done that. Thank you. Next question.
Are there any additional questions? A lot of these questions are repetitive.
Next question.
No, if you can write it out,
You need to be written on a card.
if you can write it down, ma'am, I'll take it up. This is a hybrid between a question and a comment, but please vote the way our constituents demand. We vote you in with our voice. Remember that when you're voted out, you want to comment on your vote, the way you vote for your constituents.
Thank you, I will. It is up to the constituents to vote. I believe that if you are staying in contact with your legislator, reaching out to the office, and making yourself available, we have an open door policy in Raleigh. You can come to Raleigh anytime. You can set up a meeting with me, but it can't be like a small meeting. It's usually a group meeting if it's locally and I can meet you in a public space. But generally, when I'm in Raleigh, my doors are open all the time. You can reach out to the office. You can send emails. That's how you communicate. And if you sign up for the newsletter, you get the newsletter. So, and this is not the first town hall I've done either. I had a town hall right here in May. So it's not that I'm not trying to reach out. It's up to the constituents. If you got 80,000 people to one, they need to reach out to your office. And not only when you're upset about something, reach out when the good work is being done too. Thank you. During the last session, you voted with Republicans on
Senate Bill 266, the bill that allows Duke Power to burn more coal and violate the pollution plan they agreed to about 2 years ago. Why did you vote for this pollute, baby, pollute bill?
So that's the same Senate bill. That's Senate Bill 266. That's the same energy bill I just talked about a while ago. There is going to be a greater demand for energy. We're not going to be able to get to emissions control, carbon neutral in 5 years, which it was due in 5 years. If they moved it out, we've got to have other energy sources. Everybody wants to be able to turn the light switch on. We had the hurricane up there in the western. People from Duke had to go up there and redo lines. It's more expensive to put the lines in the ground. It's cheaper to put them on the poles, but they want to put them in the ground in the hurricane areas. So the way that it's set up is just like I explained about the public staff and the Utilities Commission. Every rate increase has to go through the North Carolina Utilities Commission. But the other side of it that you need to understand is that you may pay a little bit with your bill going up, but if you wait to the end, you're going to pay more because of the cost of things that are required to build those plants. So it's almost like an equity loan, a home equity loan. You pay a little bit of interest first instead of waiting all the way to the end when you're going to have to pay the principal and the interest. This would alleviate that additional cost by the way we're doing it now. Thank you.
What does accountability look like for you at this moment? Do you still consider yourself aligned with democratic values?
I don't consider myself aligned with any party. I consider myself a person that looks at the information that I'm given, see if it's beneficial to my constituents and my community, and then make a decision. All decisions that you make are not going to be correct because you're not an expert in anything. I'm not an expert legislator. I don't know one that is. But you have to read, and you have to listen to everybody that come by your office and tell you this about this and this about that. And then you try to make a judgment call. But you're also looking to your constituents to let you know what is it about this and what is it about that that they may not like. And lots of times we're not getting those calls. We probably get over 1,000 emails a day in our office, but we do decipher them to see what comes from a constituent. So it's not an easy decision to make all the time. Now, let me be clear. The Democrats are not in control in Raleigh. They're not in control. We're in the minority. The Republicans have the judicial Supreme Court. The Republicans have the Senate. They are only shy by one vote in the House. One vote. So how do you get anything done if you're not willing to work with people that are different from you, that may have a different background, may come from a different place? How do you do that? Let me say this. Excuse me. Excuse me. It's easy to be in the no group, to say no to everything. You know where the hard work is done? Trying to get to that yes. You think Medicaid expansion just happened? It didn't happen just by saying no. Medicaid expansion was triggered in the budget. If you didn't vote for the budget, you didn't vote for Medicaid expansion. Most people don't know that. But I voted for the budget that had Medicaid expansion in it that now covers 650,000 people in the state. When other people were told not to vote for it because it was in a Republican budget. How do you tell your people you don't deserve something because you ain't in charge? How? You have to learn how to work with the other people, whether you like them or not. Whether the philosophy is the same or the ideology may be way over there. But maybe you can find a commonality, like I did on the school lunch bill. Because it was Representative Art, Representative Brody, out of Union County and Essex County. Both of them were Republicans. Their children had lunch debt too. And when I went to them, they didn't know about the school lunch debt. The kids wasn't being able to eat. I went to them and had that conversation. Said, will you get on a bill with me on that? Yes, we'll do it. I said, when you go to budget negotiation, will you fight for it for me? He said, yes, I will. $6 million initially, $3 million recurrent. You know how hard it is to get recurrent in the budget? And I'm a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm just a human being that care about my people, my constituents, bringing resources home to you. What about what I got for the YMCA? The YMCA got money. Hope Haven got money. Habitat for Humanity got money. The Metro Atlanta Food Bank got money. Gracious Hands got money. Because I said I need this to come home. And working across the aisle, ain't nothing wrong with that. I've done that all my life as a nurse. I've walked in rooms and didn't ask people if they was a Republican or a Democrat or an independent and took care of them. And I do the same thing now. Because it's not about a party. It's about your constituents. It's about learning to navigate and negotiate in the hardest places. That's what you're required to do. You're not required to just say no. And you're not required to just say yes. You have to find a space, a commonality with people that are willing to work with you. Everybody ain't willing to work with you. And I don't expect that. But I'm good at what I do because I can meet you where you're at. And I can negotiate with you. And I can figure out what the commonality is that's important to you, that's important to me. That's how I don't do a lot of education. I'm a health and human services person. That's my area of expertise because I do have a long history background as a nurse. So I don't do a lot of committees. Other people do way more education than I do. The only aspect of education I look at and deal with is early childhood. And that is the space where we're still working, trying to keep daycares open, trying to do that, because after COVID hit, over 50% of them closed. They don't make enough money. They probably only make about $12 or $13 an hour. And there's a lot of regulations in place. We're working on that. We're working on that.
We have a few questions I need to, for the next question. Yeah. Do you think we are divided as a nation? If yes, what are we doing to stop that division?
I'm sorry, repeat the question.
Do you think that we are divided as a nation? If yes, what are we doing to stop that division?
I think that in the time that we're in, we're very distracted. But a lot of people voted for that distraction. They made that decision. And if you look at what actually happened during the last presidential election, the voting turnout was not high in Mecklenburg County. Thank you. Can you open that for me? The turnout wasn't that great. But if you keep watching the TV and you're on social media a lot, it's a tendency for the negativity to get inside of your brain. You might have didn't think like that before you started watching it, but if you keep watching it, eventually it's going to get into your psyche, and the positive gets pushed to the side. We do have a lot of division in this country, but it's not for me to fix. It's for each one of us to work on that. If we decide when we go to the polls, one thing I can say is when people show me who they are, that's who they are. And so you don't have to question who people voted for during the federal election, that's not my lane. I stay in my lane. But if you want to listen to all that and your life is, you know, contained by it, then yeah, you're going to have a lot of issues going on. Because I believe after COVID happened, we already had a strain on people's comfort, on people feeling safe, and on people thinking and having social norms. A lot of things changed during that period of time.
Will you commit to sustaining the governor's veto of Senate Bill 50, permitless carry?
I won't, but I'll just say this. I don't like guns. I've never liked the gun. And I've done a lot of work on suicide prevention in that space. And I know that that's one of the leading causes of self-inflicted injury that causes death from suicide, and I've done a lot of work in that space. So I don't like guns, so I won't be voting for a gun bill. I never have voted for a gun bill ever since I've been elected. So what I've done is probably what you're going to see.
Immigrants contribute millions to our economy and pay taxes. Most of them are documented in your district and vote for you. So that's a comment that was made.
I can respond to that. I already said if you legal, I don't have an issue with you. But I'm at the polls. I've been to the polls 12 times. And I can look at my numbers. I can see who voting, who and who's not voting. I can see it. But my district has less than 5% Latino and Hispanic in it if it's based off of ethnicity. Now, it's more women in it that vote. When you're looking at the men, gender, and those other things, you have to do a deeper dive. But my district leans Democrat, but I'm gonna let you know, the independents are growing significantly in the whole county. A matter of fact, they've grown so fast that we have lost significant ground. They're over the Republicans, and they're very, very much close to the Democrats right now. So that's something everybody probably needs to be thinking about. The only difference about the independent is if you go down there to file, you got to get 1,200 signatures on the ballot. And they can decide if they want to vote Republican or Democrat. So that's a decision left up to the individual. But they are very, very much growing in Mecklenburg County.
Another question.
I'm through with that one.
Another question is, I'm aware that sometimes legislators are placed in precarious positions when they are forced to take votes and get specific needs for their local districts. Last year, you voted with Republicans to increase the amount of voucher money that would go to wealthy families in North Carolina. In light of the Department of Education being eliminated by Trump's administration, recent attempt to hold back money for public schools, an ongoing attempt by Republicans to starve North Carolina public schools, if given the opportunity to take that vote again, would you vote differently?
So I'm not sure where that vote was. I can't remember where every vote was, and if it was last year, I definitely can't recall where that vote was. What the federal does, I have no control over what the federal does. And I guess we need to start thinking about what the state is control of. The federal controls certain things, but most other things do fall to the state to structure it and decide on how they're going to deliver it. Now, it depends on if that was inside of the budget, because as I explained before, some of those votes are hard votes, but if you got money in the budget, you don't want to go in and vote against the budget. If I got 2 jail inspectors in the budget, I don't want to go in and vote against the budget. If I got $14 million in the budget, I don't want to go in and vote against the budget, because those are resources that I'm able to bring into my community. So you have to decide. Now, I got a suicide bill that's coming up, and it's in the budget right now. And what the bill would do, it would take and put the 988 number and the crisis hotline on the back of every student ID up to the age of college. That's in the budget. But it's not a Democrat budget. So I already got my stuff in the budget, so I'm going to go in and I'm going to vote against myself, what I want to bring home to my people. That's not logical. Now, out of 100% of all pieces of legislation that come before us, only about 95% of it is controversial. Only about 95%. Maybe 5% is where the push and the tug is at, or what you would say is difficult votes.
I am a 29-year-old community organizer. I am also a constituent that you represent. You have lost a lot of support with young voters. What is your plan to address your young voters when they bring your voting record? When they bring up your voting record. Please keep in mind your response cannot be, I think it's condescending, one like you've been responding to tonight. So the young voters.
Well, I let my record speak for itself. You can go back and look at every vote I've taken. It's out there, just like somebody was bringing up about the money. It's out there. You can go and find it. It's public information. Nothing is hidden. But if I looked at my base voters over the age of 55. We want younger people to engage more. We've done lots of outreach in that space, but that space has not increased in its voter turnout. It just hasn't happened. And I don't know what's going on with that space. I know that they think differently about politics. A lot of people are disenchanted with it, don't want to engage because it's so nasty, so volatile, and people don't want to touch it. So I get it. I really do.
Representative Cunningham, although you've expressed opposition to school vouchers in principle, your vote to support the expanding opportunity scholarship suggests otherwise. How do you reconcile that vote with concerns that the vouchers, public education funding, and harm students by diverting tax dollars away from public schools? What is the safeguard?
I believe the voucher vote was inside of the budget. It wasn't a separate vote. And that's where you have to figure out your compromise, is because, like I said, if I got stuff in the budget, I'm not going to vote against the budget. I want to bring my resources home to the community. So sometimes they're just not separated votes. Now, in some cases, we wish we could bifurcate a piece of legislation, just like we just did the squatters bill. When the squatters bill was important to me, but when it came back from the Senate, it had the puppy mill bill with it. And people were like, how did that happen? Well, the Senate did it. So we may send something over in 2 pages, and then when it comes back, it may be in 19 pages. And some of the stuff that come back may not be as acceptable to us. Just so happened that that bill did come for a veto override. It did go to the governor. But because we were still willing to continue to work on the bill, a new bill was created. It came back as Senate Bill 50, House Bill 55, without the puppy mill bill in it. So that bill passed unanimously. That doesn't happen often, but it can happen. But the bifurcation where you separate the 2 items rarely happens, rarely happens.
over 70% of the people detained by ICE have no criminal record. How do you align that fact with what you said today about ICE? And excuse me, I'm trying to read some of the handwriting. Deporting criminals.
So that's not my job. I'm a legislator. I do policy and I write laws. It's not my job to enforce. It's not my job to enforce law enforcement. That's the federal government and the state law enforcement to enforce the statute. Thank you.
Representative, can you elaborate on House Bill 318 as far as what that bill is for? House Bill 318. Excuse me. I would like for us to recognize the place that we are, and in the honor to the pastor. It was allowing this platform for us to be able to hear from the representative.
Let's go to the next question.
So if you can elaborate on House Bill 318 as far as what that bill changed or adjusted when that bill went forward.
So the original House Bill 10 required the sheriff to be notified 48 hours once they came into jail. What has happened now is it's required before they release them back out into the community. One of the reasons is because we don't have a detainment space in our area. They have to come out of another state to pick them up. Now, I don't know what the police do or what ICE do because I'm not an ICE agent. But I'm gonna go back to a little bit of history so people can understand where I'm coming from. It was in 2011 when the terrorist attacks happened in New York, when the 3,000 people were killed. Excuse me. That is the correct date, 9/11. I just got a little mixed up, and it's okay because I'm not perfect. But anyway, 9/11, I remember when the airplanes hit the towers, and over 3,000 people were killed in New York when they hit the towers. And more was, suffered later from the fallout from all the debris that fell. Well, when I voted for House Bill 10, I went and pulled the data to look and see if there were terrorists coming into the country. And it was 150 that crossed the southern border. And they captured all but 50 of them. They couldn't relocate them. And the reason I'm saying this is because we are still very vulnerable to terrorist attacks. No country in the whole world has open borders. No country. No country. So we have a process in place, and it's following the law. Everybody must follow the law. I'm a state legislator, and I have to follow the law. So, that's the choices we have to make. We have to make the choice to follow the law. And if we don't want to follow the law, then we will be criminals, be arrested, locked up, and whatever else happens. But everybody is required to follow the law. Thank you.
Constituent, why did you vote to expand vouchers when billions of dollars, I may have a different answer, yeah. Okay, this one. ICE activities bring back painful, ICE activities bring back painful memories of police brutality against people of color, blacks, in the 1960s. Immigrants are also people of color. Do you believe that the majority of ICE activities are ethical or moral?
That's not a judgment for me to make. That's not my purview. ICE work for federal. I'm not federal, I'm state. Go to the next question.
Due to our time, this will be the last question. Please help me understand how, was that the same question? Override? Please explain. I think we should just address, this is the last question, but it's a reinstatement. Please help me understand how your vote to override HB 10 and provide hundreds of millions of dollars to private school vouchers benefit our community. Please explain how overriding the veto to approve utility rates hikes will be beneficial to our community.
That's another voucher question? Excuse me.
And the second part of it was, please explain how overriding the veto to approve utility rate hikes will be beneficial to the community.
I already had explained that one time. But I'm going to close out with this, since most people came in reference to 318. So several years ago, there was an individual in the jail. Some of you all may recall it if you were here. He was let out. It was a domestic violence case right here in Mecklenburg County. And the individual left the jail and went to kill the woman. He hid inside of the wall. The SWAT had to go down there, and they were down there 12 hours to get the man out of the wall. So immigration customs people, they need to not have to go in the community. They're supposed to pick them up at the jail. It's a safer environment for them to pick them up at the jail instead of having to go in the community. This is hard to hear. I know it is. But just 2 months ago, there was a young lady traveling from Lancaster coming into Rock Hill to visit her friend. She had 2 small children. Who's going to be her voice? She was killed. She was shot by 5 juveniles that were not citizens. She was shot and killed. So they have a job to do to provide safety in our community. Everybody must follow the law. So I want to thank you all for coming. It's my time up.
Thank you, Representative.
Thank y'all for coming. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
And